Read the disclaimer!
Let me put it to you this way, this isn't really a rant so much as an addendum to my review of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. If you haven't seen it yet, I suggest watching it first before watching the rest of this video. I will leave a card here to direct you to the review in question. Before I begin, I would like to make a correction. There is actually a pond that Wayne flies into. It is in the Thompsons' backyard. However, I should note that the appearance of this pond wasn't very obvious in the first place. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about science in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. If you don't remember how the shrink ray works in the film, Wayne will explain it right now.
All matter is made up of not only density, but of empty space. And if we can proportionally reduce the amount of empty space in any given object, we can thereby shrink the object.
Here is what Wayne is correct about. All matter exists not only as particles, but also as empty space in between, though solids and liquids have less empty space than gases. It's high school science, really. What the movie gets wrong, however, is thinking that mass and volume are the same thing. And that is where my inner scientist is screaming. I will explain. While it is theoretically possible to reduce the volume of an object by removing the empty space, the mass of the object should stay the same. This leads to a few problems. 1. When the kids shrank, not only should their mass be the same, their weight should be the same as well. There is a concept in physics called pressure, which is force over area. Given that their weight, the force of gravity, now occupies a reduced area of floor or ground they walk on, why didn't the attic floor buckle down, and why didn't they sink into the earth? In Full Metal Alchemist, Lin Yao realized that envy hid a great deal of mass within their small exterior just by looking at how deep Envy's footprints were in the ground. This is exactly the same principle that would be applied if the movie happened in real life. As such, they'd either have died from severe trauma from falling, or they'd suffocate from being buried in the ground via gravity. For that matter, Wayne shouldn't be able to lift the couch because, again, only the volume is reduced, not the mass and weight. Better yet, he shouldn't even be able to sweep the kids into the garbage. That would be comparable to trying to move a piece of dark matter in Futurama. The broom would probably have stopped when the kids grabbed a hold of the broom bristles. 2. Given that the kids' lungs shrank and that air is a gas, which is mostly empty space, shouldn't the kids have difficulty breathing? Walking around a quarter-inch tall must be like running around at the top of Mount Everest. I know that the ant can breathe fine, but human lungs have things called alveoli, which are tiny, even in unshrunk humans. Given that the particles that make up the kids' lungs are made dense from the shrink ray, these kids should have died from suffocation by nightfall, because there would be less chance that oxygen would enter their lungs, let alone their bloodstreams. And 3. Assuming that Wayne perfected the machine so that size changes stabilized, after all, particles enact all sorts of forces on each other, and knowing that the kids can move the shrunken couch as if everything is unshrunk, wouldn't that mean that the kids have Ant-Man's powers? They could easily rip the ant in half if they really wanted to. Again, assuming they don't suffocate from the lack of oxygen intake, or if they don't sink into the ground. In summary, the science in this film is purely incongruous from real life. Make no mistake, I still stand by my recommendation for the film. It just so happens that I thought about all these points while I was editing my review. And speaking of things I didn't include in the review,
The point is, Coach put me on these babies. You know what happened? I put on 20 pounds of pure, unadulterated blitz the quarterback and rip his head off muscle.
if you are new to this channel, please subscribe. If you like what I have to say, please like this video and follow me on Twitter. If you have any thoughts you would like to share, please leave a comment below. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.